Okay, my name is ENYINNAYA Appolos. I'm from Isiko in OBINGWA Autonomous Community in OBINGWA local government area of Abia State. Early 2015, I was PA and media assistant to Dr. Kezibazo, who was a governorship aspirant and later became the governorship candidate of the PDP. Then after the election, I became PA to the governor. 1 year after, in 2016, I became chief press secretary. I worked as chief press secretary till the end of the first tenure. Then after the second tenure election, which the governor won for his second term, I became a social advisor on media. The job I did until I resigned in February 2022 to contest the election. Now, all of these offices have no constitutional provision for me to care for my community. But I'm a human being. I come from somewhere. It is my traditional obligation to give back to my society whenever I have, from whatsoever position, whether in government or outside of government. Otherwise, all the positions I've held in government, there is no provision to say this is what you give back to your community because you are in this position. All I've done for my people and my community are things I choose to do because I know it is the right thing for me to do. I am not compelled to by law or by virtue of the positions I've held to do them. For instance, if you're a chief press secretary to the governor, in fact, if you're a PA to the governor, your job is to man the governor. Your job is to make sure that the governor attends to his files, keeps to his appointment, get him ready for meetings. So that job does not even know whether you are coming from anywhere. If you're a chief press secretary to governor, you are the image maker. That job does not confer any responsibility on you to your people. But because you are a human being who come from somewhere, those offices, there are potencies, that there are benefits from those offices. And we're Africans, and we're Ndibo, and we're Angwa people. Here, when you have, you give to your brother. When you have, you give to the next person who don't have. When you have, you remember your community. So, from the time, in fact, I started thinking about my society when I was in school. Before 2003, 2004, in my village Isiko, we do not have up to 6 graduates. In my village Isiko, I came back from school. I called my brother Emily Kobani, he's a lecturer. I said, come, let us form what I called Scholars Vanguard of Isiko. I formed it. Now the idea was, this was supposed to be an undergraduate forum. But as at that time, there were about 3 or 4 of us who were undergraduate. And I said, what we need to do is let us bring our younger ones who are even in secondary school for them to be a part of, for them to be member. So that was what we did. So we founded Scholars Vanguard. I can't remember which year was that, around 2004, thereabouts. We had our annual calendar almanac. In fact, Scholars Vanguard, luckily for me, from When we founded Scholars Vanguard till around 2006, I'd finished my diploma in mass communication. I went to Lagos to do my IT. From there, I started working. So I started making money. So now, I was now coming home. I was now bearing the financial responsibilities of Scholars Vanguard. I was now helping to pay small fees for members, many of them who were still secondary school students. Then I funded the Almanac project, which was launched in our place. And later on, I think I later handed over to, but I was no longer a graduate. And I said, okay, let us leave the Scholars Vanguard. We now moved on, and I also founded Isiko Development Union, which is called IDU. Many of us who have graduated then moved to IDU, leaving Scholars Vanguard to the undergraduate. Unfortunately, some of them, those who handed over to, didn't understand the dream, and they were unable to carry up. But IDU also started doing their own, and like it was to Scholars Vanguard, I was solely responsible for it. So those were the things that I was doing for my people until I got into government. Automatically, when you get into government, it's like you have assumed the office of the people, no matter the position you are in government. So everybody will now be looking up to you. This person is in government. The government is supposed to provide this. Government is supposed to provide it. Government is supposed to provide it. Then realizing the privileges I have when I was serving in government, that I was very close to the governor, of course, having served as his PA and all of that. So I didn't bother. I helped a whole lot of my younger ones go to school, help a lot of them get job, help them pay bills. I remember that in 2016, I returned to Isiko with about 4 million naira. What provoked that was that one day I asked one woman who used to do petty trading. I said, "Ada, you got 4 She said, they go Jazwa. Or they said, how much? He has some 10,000 naira. She said 10,000 naira. I said, okay, fine. I came back and called one of my brothers who's always around me. I said, look, this is what we are going to do now. The least person should get 20,000 naira. So let's go. Well, let us face these petty trader women in the village to the other young. So we moved down. And on a particular evening, we gathered people and distributed 20,000 naira to some category. Others got 50,000. Particular category got 100,000. By the time I left Isiko that day, over 4 million plus left my purse. Yeah, because like I said, I've now assumed government position and I'm now making more money than I was. Then sometime from Isiko, then I grew up in the village, so I know much about my village. Our farm route that leads us into Akwa Ibom, at some point, even vehicle couldn't access because the road was bad. I said, well, these are some of those responsibilities. I went down there myself, brought bulldozer, I reopened that road, had to grade it, expand it. And from 2017, I did yearly grading in Mbokoman, not just in Isiko. Mbokoman, like I said, Mbokoman has 15 villages. I was unable to cover the entire village, but I know I started from Nuenu, get to Umuhu, get to Kwaraz, Umuhu, Paribelu, Isiko, Kwaraz and Umunker. So I made that at a point. That's why today, if you come to Isiko, you notice that it looks like we have the most motorable road. Though not that, but because we did two years grading. Because there is a disadvantage in yearly grading of roads. It washes off the side of the road. So when you do like 2 years, 3 years intervals grading, it helps the road to stay. So those were the things. Then one of those things that I choose to do was to bring out the name Isiko. Isiko is a big brand. People used to tell me that they don't know there's a place called Isiko. I said, but Esi is from Isiko. It's a big name. It's the biggest brand. It's the biggest name in Isiko. So, because you can't ask me anything that I will not tell you that I'm from Isiko and all of that. So, That brought the idea of us going into doing the Isikode stuff and all of that, and that also launched us. We became the envy of other villages in the communities and around, and we usually have our annual event. I think we started in 2019. That was the first time we had the Isikode. Repeated the second time. Unfortunately, from 2020, the COVID thing that happened, we introduced the Isiko bicycle race thing. But last year, for some reasons of other personal engagement, we didn't do that. But I think we are beginning to think of what we can do next. So I've always think of my place. I've always think of going back to my place. I've always think of my people in any position that I've had, from when I was in the newsroom till up until now. First question is the chances. I've become a politician, though I cannot run away from that fact. Then every politician who decides to run for an election will never believe that he does not have chances. So if you ask, he say, I have the chances, I will win. I will win. So I will tell you that I have chances and that I will win. But in this case, I'm not saying because that is what every other politician will say. Because I know the amount of work I've done, and I know the impact I've made in the life of my people. My people here are not just Isiko people. Even though initially I didn't want to go into any political contest. But as they go by, and I begin to see things happening, hear things, and ask myself, I say, if all of us who think that we are good, then that's the only politicians that are bad. If all of us will sit back and wait for politicians to go and get the post and give us appointive work, then how will things get changed? It was that point I said, it's okay. I also think there's something I can do. Our honorable member has done his best. He's a lawyer and a party man who has given so many years of service. And like we have all said, all of us who are aspiring to be are eminently qualified. But leadership comes with, first of all, style. First of all, about the person and all of that. Now, I cannot score or rate our honorable member, because as someone who has covered the legislature and I've tried to go through his functions, based on duties of a lawmaker, Nkoro has done well. He has done his bits. But in this case, this is not something that you go and stay forever. Now, to the best of his ability, he has done all. 8 years is enough for you to prove to your people and say, this is the way I want to do it. Now, if there are other areas, which I'm sure there are, that people feel that he has not done well, those are where areas people like us now are capitalizing on. I'm coming. That's why for me, I think that I'm going to move the legit business for OBINGWA west from just the normal thing that our people do. Can we now begin to engage the people for them to really understand that you're actually the real face of government when it comes to the people, because you are the one who represent the people. That's why we talk about accessibility. You see, when I talked about this, one of my fellow aspirants thought I was making reference to him, but because he didn't understand. Honorable member, our road is bad. Honorable member, we don't have water. Honorable member, we don't have electricity. Those are community problems. Then honorable member, my wife put to bed. Honorable member, my father's burial is next week. Honorable member, I don't have a job. You get the point? So now some of these complaints, you solve them by engaging the people for them to understand. Some of those who are saying, honorable member, we don't have a job, they actually have a job. They are doing 1 or 2 businesses. But There's where they are looking at. If we tell the honorable now, he will move us from here to there. But you can engage him and say, look, that place you are looking at is good. But can you be consistent in this one? You see where accessibility and open communication, that's why I say engaging the people. If you are a lawmaker and the only time you think you will engage your people is to come and give Okada and give vehicle, no sir, you have failed. There should be time to time meeting where you report back. Yes, where you report back. Because part of what we lack in this part of the world is education, orientation. And it is not just the duty of whatever government agency called orientation or federal government agency called orientation. It is the duty of everybody, especially the lawmakers. But they are the ones that educate the people to understand, first of all. This is what this is supposed to do and this is what that is supposed to do. So that is part of what I am bringing to the table.
What is your take on it?
I have not been a member of any parliament. It's now that I'm trying to become one. But I have covered the National Assembly, both chambers of National Assembly. And I've taken time to ask them. I say, SARS, how much do you receive as your constituency allowance? And they will tell you, there is no money called that. What happened is you're a lawmaker. In the process of lawmaking, that the government is budgeting for the year. You are from a place. You are representing a people. From the people where you are representing. And when you are also in the parliament, you are overseeing a particular agency of government. At the beginning of the year when appropriation is being done, government will tell you, we are going to build XYZ kilometers of road for the year at so amount. At that point, who is government? It's not just the governor or the deputy governor. Even when you have the governor and deputy governor, the third person is the speaker or the senate president as the case may be. Now, in a normal scenario, when it is said from the lawmakers, this is what offer we have. You can now say, in my place, I have Isiko, Ekorazun route. It's about 5 kilometers. It will be added in the budget for that year. It becomes your duty to monitor it and reminds the government that the XYZ route that you've mentioned, that is part of the budget, because you are a part of the process that made the budget, so you know. It's not as if that money will be given to you and say, ENYINNAYA Appolos, you brought Ekurazu Isiko road, is 2 kilometers, is XYZ amount, or you bring company, or take the money, go and build road. No. It is the government. And I give you an instance. When Ezu Jobani was in the House of Reps, the Omar Ekorazu in Towedino road, he was the first to add that road to the NDDC project for one particular year. The money wasn't given to him. NDDC came, actually started the job. But you know how fraudulent NDDC projects are. So along the line, they abandoned the job. Those who didn't know say, that the money was given to Ezuja and he pocketed it. It's a lie. So now, that is what the duty and functions of a lawmaker. And that's where the best word to use is that they attract. They attract. And this also has to do with the relationship. A lawmaker is a bridge builder. A lawmaker is one who makes friends, not just for himself, but for his people. Because if you're friendly, you can lobby. That is why also the word lobby is not a negative word in the parliament. Yes. Lobby simply means beg. Not begging like a beggar. But try to say it, please, can you add this to my people? And can you do this to my people? Mr. Governor, my people don't have water. Mr. Governor, my people don't have this. Mr. Governor, I can't even go home. There is no road. Governor was okay. That is lobbying. That's what the job of a lawmaker is. When actually that is added into the government budget, it doesn't mean that the money will come to you. Okay. So now, but you as a lawmaker, you get your salaries, you get all the necessary allowances. Sometimes people just conclude that all those allowances you get, that they are constituency allowance, they are given to you because you're representing a particular constituency. Some people who mention constituency allowance mention it just on this basis I've just told you. They say every month, you know what they do to National Assembly people? When the National Assembly do their budget, or when any parliament do their budget, they say their budget per year is, let's say, 20 billion. You know what typical Nigerians will do? Senate budget is 20 billion. 20 billion divided by 109. But this is what a particular senator gets. That's not true. They forgot that in the case of National Assembly, there's a National Assembly Commission that employed thousands of Nigerians. It is the National Assembly Commission that cares for the lawmakers and pay their bills. That is that National Assembly budget you see. Now, I'm sure that is also what's happening. But don't forget that state houses of assembly are still fighting for autonomy. They've not gotten. National Assembly has their own autonomy. They draw their budget. This budget I'm talking about is that takes care of their running costs, their salaries, the maintenance of that big edifice called the National Assembly Complex, everything that they request, including salaries of the workers. That is the budget of National Assembly that we see. But when it comes to things that senators or lawmakers will attract to their communities, it doesn't come to the National Assembly budget. It goes to the budget of that particular ministry. For instance, if it is road, it goes to the Ministry of Works. If it's electricity, it goes to the Ministry of Power and all of that. But it now becomes the duty of the lawmaker to begin to monitor and lobby to get some of these things. So, like I said, I have not been to any parliament. It's now that I'm trying to go to, and I'm trying to go to the House of Assembly. Do you know that what too many people call empowerment is that you dip your hand into the pocket and give someone 20,000 and you've done empowerment? I'm coming. And when he goes out, as soon as he gives, you give such a fellow the 20,000 naira, he is feeling on top of the world. And if you see the hailing, the next minute he will go on Facebook. You are the person that happened to us. He comes back next week. You say, but I gave you this thing. That time he's no longer happy. He goes back to the Facebook. There you too. Do you understand? Now, that's not what I think empowerment should be. Do you actually know that there are some guys people buy vehicles for, they can't fuel it. It would have been better you call that person. If you buy a Toyota Camry of 3 million naira to a particular party man who cannot buy 4 tires, who cannot change the tire, who cannot fix that vehicle, the day you hand him over the key, he will clap and he will immediately go and begin to learn the vehicle, learn to drive. 6 months after, ask him about that vehicle. I know somebody that the governor gave a vehicle. The next time I asked him, I said, no, the next time the man was complaining. I said, but I know that you were given a vehicle. He asked me, so it would have been better you even gave that person out of the 3 million naira. It would have been better you even gave that person and say, come, what can you start with 1 million naira? What can you start with 1.5 million? You see that with that 3 million naira, you have properly empowered 2 persons. 1.5. They engage a business. I listen to a big Cubana when he said that he made people millionaire by giving people 1 million naira. Of course, if you don't have 1 million naira and someone has just gave you 1 million naira, you have become a millionaire. What makes you a millionaire is that you have over a million, you have 1 million naira. So, my thinking of empowerment is, first of all, let us talk. It's not just buying you vehicle, party chairman. It's not buying you vehicle, my younger brother, because the other person is driving a vehicle. Can I give you money that you will help you do some investment and you'll be able to buy vehicle of your own choice? Because, first of all, the man you have gone to buy 5 million naira vehicles for does not have it. Can he actually fix that vehicle? If he is going to the market to buy a vehicle for himself, will he buy 5 million naira vehicle? Or will he look for 850,000 naira vehicle and buy? I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. So, this idea of empowerment, that the only one has empowerment is giving money, doing this. Empowerment could actually be someone telling you what to do. I went to a commercial school called Learners Institute of Business Studies. It was not a government registered school as at the time I was there. And nobody told me. It was a privately owned school. Nobody told me I could write WAEC from that school. When Emily came, my brother, they were ranting WAEC in 1996, 1997. Nobody was telling us about WAEC. And I didn't know that I could register WAEC anywhere. I got angry and said that our school don't write WAEC. I just told my mom. I left the village in 1998 and went to Port Harcourt with my father. It was in Port Harcourt I realized what I've done to myself. Then I now had to go back to College of Art and Science to do remedial studies, a preparatory class to write WAEC. If anybody had advised me, that person empowered me intellectually. So you see the level of empowerment that comes. Our young guys, young people, we spend half of our days on the internet with our data, wasting them, when we can actually be making so much money. So can you engage people who can train people on how to make use of their data? That one alone. If you are coming, just come with your smartphone. Make sure there is data in it. Let me teach you how to make money. No yahoo yahoo. Zoning. What is zoning and what is equity? Now, zoning or equity, as I understand, is allowing every block to have equal share of what belongs to everybody. Is it not? Fine. It is a natural thing to do. It's a natural thing to do. Even when all the 5 fingers are not equal, but it's a natural thing to do. And I think that in our climb, where we're trying to get people to come up, where we're asking for even distribution of wealth and power, resources, it is a natural thing to do. In my place, we're not. That's not even the issue of zoning and equity. Does not even come to play, because we de-emphasize it. Because as of today, there is no ward in OBINGWA West that have not had the opportunity of being in the parliament. In fact, the people of Abai Ward 1 and 2, Abai Ward 1, who were agitating, failed to understand that Akitekoniz was actually, it was when he was in the parliament in the old Imo state that he created ward, divided Ward 1, Abai Ward 1 into Abai Ward 1 and Abai Ward 2. For us in Ward 3, we were actually the first when late Osuji went there. So we don't talk about equity as regards to we have not gone or we have. Everybody. And equity does not always mean a particular office. This is another thing that people don't get to understand. There are so many things that you can say, okay, these people, they've not had this, but they have every other thing that they should have that will help them think about the development of their place. Fine. If I get to the field that day, the delegate, a free and fair primary is conducted, and the delegate didn't vote me, what will I do? This brings me to a campaign that I've been carrying. Please, do not support anybody who do not have any other means of livelihood to hold public office.
Second address.
No, first address. First address. If you don't have a trade, if you don't have a means of survival, don't come to seek for public office. No matter how, even if you stumble into money, don't come. If I get to the field on the 18th of this month and the people didn't vote me, I will thank my supporters and I will go back, use my leftover resources to continue. Luckily for me, I have a license. I'm already building a radio station. I'm a journalist. So even if I'm not building a radio station, I have offers where I can go back to and begin to work as a journalist. So if I don't get elected, if I don't get the party's nomination, I know I will not go to join another party.
Will you support the person that...
Sure, because the party have decided, the people have decided, I will support the person. And I go back to do my business. And wait for another time if I decide to run. And it's only people who have first address that will act this way. Anyone who does not have first address, who does not have something to fall back to, they are the do or die politicians that we see around. They will employ every means, including thuggery, including fighting, including blackmailing people just to get that, because they've looked at, brother, this thing is capital intensive. Running for election involves money. So, and when you look at how much you spent, and you know, if you lose, if you don't get the nomination, there is nothing to fall back to. To such persons, you see why they would do everything. But if you're one who has a means, who have a first address, you now know you've already planned yourself. I'm giving 50% of my investment to this project. If it doesn't work, this 50% is here. I continue with my life.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very, very much. So talking about my message to them, I just appeal to them. At all levels of the primaries, look for the best candidates and give power. See, brother, I think we have gotten to that point in our history as a people where we need to ask ourselves, where did we get it wrong? For OBINGWA West, I'm the best. For OBINGWA West, I'm the best. And I have been going around. You know what? There are 6 of us contesting. I am like the only person amongst them. I'm the only aspirant who have taken time to go through and through, meeting not just the delegate, but even the party people, having meetings. So when I tell them that I will engage them, they understand. Because already we are doing that.